What is up, guys? It's me, Exactly, back bringing you some more daily NBA recaps. That is right, I said daily because this is going to be a daily show from here on out, meaning that you guys will always know exactly what's happening in the games every single day. And if you guys are stoked about that, then you already know that I need you to go ahead and destroy that like button to show your support for the series and for the channel. Anyways, we got 8 games of NBA action to go over today, so let's not waste any more time. Let's just get right into this. Let's go. And the first game that we gotta talk about today is the Philadelphia 76ers taking on the Dallas Mavericks. Last year's Rookie of the Year and Ben Simmons taking on who was most likely going to be this year's Rookie of the Year in Luka Doncic. And if you guys were starting your franchise today and had to choose between either Ben Simmons or Luka Doncic to have on your team for the next 10 years, I want you to let me know who you are taking down in the comment section below. Anyways, the Philadelphia 76ers in this game playing their second straight game without Jimmy Butler and Wilson Chandler, as both of those guys have been sidelined with upper respiratory chest infections. Doesn't sound like too much fun, but to be honest, the Philadelphia 76ers really didn't need either of those guys in this game, as they were still able to come away with the 106-100 win over Dallas for their third straight win. And this was mainly because of both Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid, who both had amazing games yesterday. Simmons with a triple double of 20 points, 14 rebounds, and 11 assists, while Joel Embiid had 25 points, 12 rebounds, and 5 assists of his own. And after this game, Joel Embiid did make it cry to Ben Simmons to continue shooting jump shots outside the paint, as over the past few games, Ben Simmons has been taking shots a little bit further away from the paint. Now, not talking anything drastic, I'm talking about 8, 9, 10, 11 feet away from the rim. However, even though he hasn't been making a majority of those shots, Joel Embiid is pleading with Ben Simmons to continue to shoot those jump shots because it'll only make things easier for both Jimmy Butler and Joel Embiid himself. For our next game of the day, we have Giannis Antetokounmpo and the Milwaukee Bucks taking on Kawhi Leonard and the Toronto Raptors for the battle of the powerhouses in the Eastern Conference. And these two teams heading into this game were separated by nothing more than a little bit of air in the Eastern Conference standing. And in this game, Giannis Antetokounmpo and the Milwaukee Bucks were having their way with the Toronto Raptors for about the first quarter of this game. Giannis having a very strong game overall, finishing with 43 points and 18 rebounds, even hitting 3 of his 5 triplet attempts. Watch out, looks like the man might be starting to get himself a little bit of an outside jumper. But even though Giannis and the Bucks got the jump on the Raptors early, that wasn't the story for the entire game, as eventually the Toronto Raptors, even without Kyle Lowry, who they have been missing for their past few games and have been pretty shaky in terms of performance without Kyle Lowry, that should just show his importance to this team right here. But anyways, Kawhi Leonard and the Toronto Raptors really turned up the intensity after the first quarter to come away with the 123-116 win. And it's not like the Milwaukee Bucks played bad, it's just the Toronto Raptors were amazing. Serge Ibaka had 25 points. Pascal Siakam continues to be super impressive this season with 30 points. Kawhi Leonard had 30 points, 6 rebounds, 6 assists, and 5 steals, and even Fred VanVleet chipped in 21 points and hit 5 threes. And what very well could be a preview of the Eastern Conference Finals this year, we will see. I feel like the Eastern Conference playoffs are going to be very interesting, especially with Indy, Toronto, Milwaukee, Philly, and Boston all being very capable of making it to the Eastern Conference Finals. James Harden and the Houston Rockets taking on Damian Lillard and the Portland Trail Blazers. James Harden and the Houston Rockets putting their 6-game win streak on the line in this one, as well as James Harden personally putting his 40-point game streak on the line, considering for the past 5 games he has scored at least 40 points in each of them. However, with the Blazers playing a lot better as of late, this would be a very, very hard game for James Harden and the Houston Rockets to win. And that being said, I regret to inform any Rockets fans out there, but this was indeed the game that both of those streaks came to an end, as it was the Portland Trail Blazers who were able to come away with the 110-101 win behind Yusuf Nurkic having another monster game, following up his historic 5x5 game with a game of 25 points and 15 rebounds. As for James Harden and the Houston Rockets, James Harden did get really close to his 40-point mark, scoring 38 points on the night. And after the game, when asked about his performance, James Harden simply said that he got out to a really slow start. He started to pick it up a bit in the third quarter. He knew he was on fire, but by then it was pretty much too late as the Portland Trail Blazers had already found their rhythm. So he says that he just needs to get off to a better start. And Houston Rockets coach Mike D'Antoni didn't seem too worried about this loss at all either, as after the game, instead of talking about the loss, he was still gushing over how great James Harden has been as of late, saying that even though he didn't score 40 points, he still played really well down the stretch of this game, and that now it's like when Harden does score 40 points, everyone's thinking what's wrong with him, and that should just tell us how good Harden is. The Golden State Warriors taking on the Sacramento Kings. Both teams so far this season have been pretty surprising in their own different ways. The Warriors surprising because we all thought they were going to be a lot better than this, and the Sacramento Kings surprising because we all thought they were going to be a heck of a lot worse than they actually are. Anyways, in this game, the Sacramento Kings could not miss. These guys shot 55% from 3. Buddy Hield, who the Sacramento Kings traded for because they believe he is the next Stephen Curry, did give one of his best Stephen Curry impressions last night, scoring 32 points and hitting 8 of his 13 3-point attempts. The Golden State Warriors could not stop him, nor could they stop Justin Jackson, who had a game out of nowhere off the bench, scoring 28 points of his own, including hitting 5 of his 8 or 7 3-point attempts. However, even though the Sacramento Kings were playing extremely well and couldn't miss in this game, it still wasn't enough, as Stephen Curry and the Golden State Warriors were still able to pull out the 127-123 win, and that's mainly because of Stephen Curry, as even though James Harden didn't score at least 40 points last night, Stephen Curry did, as Curry dropped 42 points in the night, including hitting 10 of his 20 triple attempts. And players attempting 23s per game seems like it's about to start becoming the norm. Anyways, for the Sacramento Kings, I guess you could say this was a pretty good loss considering they were taking on the Golden State Warriors. They played extremely well and challenged the Warriors up until the very end, and it took a 42-point game from Stephen Curry in order for the Warriors to get the win in this one. And with the Golden State Warriors claiming a win on the night, then you already know that the Denver Nuggets could not afford to lose if they want to keep their #1 standing in the Western Conference. Season just about halfway over, and the Nuggets are still atop the Western Conference. That has to be one of the biggest surprises of this NBA season so far, if you were to ask me. And of course, the Denver Nuggets were able to get the win over the Charlotte Hornets, 123-110. Nikola Jokic having himself one of his monster games with 39 points, 12 rebounds, and 6 assists. So we got the New Orleans Pelicans taking on the Cleveland Cavaliers, and this one was not even close to a contest. 133-98 the final score. Nothing else needs to be or even should be said about this game. Maybe the only thing you can talk about is a debate between who played better, Julius Randle or Anthony Davis, as Julius Randle was amazing with 22 points, 12 rebounds, and 8 assists, but AD wasn't too shabby himself with 20 points, 10 rebounds, and 4 steals. Donovan Mitchell and the Utah Jazz taking on Blake Griffin and the Detroit Pistons, and it was Blake Griffin and the Pistons who got off to a very hot start in this game, leading 31-13 after one, and at one point led 38-20 even in the second quarter. But after that, it was all downhill for Blake Griffin and the Detroit Pistons, as the Utah Jazz eventually came away with the 110-105 win thanks to Donovan Mitchell and his 26 points, 5 rebounds, and 5 assists, while Griffin did have 34 points, 10 rebounds, and 5 assists for Detroit, as the Jazz are now back to 500 on the year. And for what will actually be our final game of the night, we have the Memphis Grizzlies taking on the San Antonio Spurs, and it was the San Antonio Spurs who come away with the 20-point 108-88 victory over the Memphis Grizzlies. This game, of course, coming after the very emotional game that the San Antonio Spurs just had to play against Kawhi Leonard and the Toronto Raptors. And with this win, San Antonio was now 23-17 on the year, so they are playing a lot better than they were to start this season. LaMarcus Aldridge, though, leading the way for San Antonio in this one with 18 points and 7 assists. And that is going to bring us to the player of the day, where you guys can vote for who you think was the best player in the league last night by clicking the little eye icon in the top right hand corner of the video. Just remember though that only players whose team won are eligible to win player of the day. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed this video. Hope I kept you up to date with everything that's going on in the NBA, and if I did, then why not go ahead and smash that like button as well as subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on more daily videos. Thank you once again for watching though. You guys already know that you are the real MVPs, but that being said, until next time, I am out of here. Peace!